Hi everyone, and welcome to Marion's 31-day challenge, day 5. Today my challenge, I first have to say I love this project that Marion's doing because I don't know about you guys, but it's challenging me to do things that I've had in the back of my mind that I really wanted to do or get back to doing. And I lie in bed at night and think, what's my challenge going to be for tomorrow? And so this is one that I have been dying to get back to doing. I used to make bread every single day, and I have the most amazing bread recipe. It's no knead, it's super easy. It's that artisan bread that's you buy it in a round circle, and it's really chewy and so delicious, and it's quite expensive to buy, but you can easily make it. The one thing that you need though is a clay baker like these. I have 3 of them here. I managed to get them donated to me from friends because they knew I was baking my bread every day. This is my original clay baker. Look how old it is, but it's great. And so I started making, because you have to use 1 baker per loaf. And I thought if I'm going to go through the trouble, I'd make at least 2 loaves a day. And what I do is I give 1 to my kids and we keep 1. And this one neighbor gave me. They were so popular in the 70s. And then this one of my girlfriends gave me. I like it. It's really ornate. But they're all made of clay. And that's a trick to this bread. It gives it a really crusty crust with a really chewy inside. Okay, I've put the ingredients in the bowl. The basic ingredients, the 4 ingredients that you need are flour, yeast, salt, and water. That's it. And the kind of yeast that you need is an instant yeast. One that I use is this one. I got it from the website breadtopia.com, and I'll put the information and the link in the information box below. So those are the 4 ingredients, and I'll also put the basic recipe in the information box below. And for me, the reason I stopped making the bread was because I wanted to have a fiber alternative, because I really want to make sure there's 3 to 4 grams of fiber per slice of every piece of bread I eat, so that I can eat it on my new eating plan. And so I've added to my recipe a 1/4 cup of steel cut oats, and a 1/4 cup of wheat germ. And for my flour, I've used, instead of all 3 cups of white flour, I used 1.5 cups of white and 1.5 cups of whole wheat. So I have upped the fiber content in my bread by adding those extra ingredients, and I've tried it and it's delicious, and it doesn't affect the quality of the bread at all. So if you want a more fiber content bread, you can add those things, and if you just like really nummy homemade white bread, you can follow the basic recipe below. So I've added my salt, my yeast. You add your yeast right into the bowl. So it's the flour, the yeast, the salt, and then 1.5 cups of water. You just pour it in. And then I take, again, I ordered this whisk from them because they were using it, and I thought it really can't make a difference. It makes a huge difference. It's called a Danish whisk. You can use a wooden spoon, but you just mix the stuff all up till it's all mixed together. Okay, this is what the dough looks like after it's been whisked with that Danish whisk. And then just at the very last, I just put my hands in and just kind of formed it into a bowl. Into a ball. You don't have to do that. I just do that. And that's it. Then you cover it up with some cling wrap like I've done on this one here. The one thing, if you're going to be making 2 loaves, you have to do them separately in 2 separate bowls. So that's why I've got 2 here. And then you leave this on your counter, and you leave it like that for 12 to 18 hours. So what I normally do is after supper, after I've cleaned up the dishes and everything, then I would whip the recipe together, and so that would be about 7 o'clock at night. So 12 hours is 7 o'clock in the morning. So by the time I get up, get dressed around 10 in the morning, then I'll go on to the next step, which is just as easy as this. And oh, I just wanted to mention, because I added the extra fiber ingredients, I added about a 1/4 cup more water to my bread dough. But if you're just going to follow the basic recipe below, you don't have to do that. Okay, be right back. Hi everyone, so here we are exactly 18 hours later. It's actually 6:30 a.m. here. So let's have a look and see what happened to our dough in 18 hours. So you can see it, and it's very, very wet. After it's been proofing, it gets very, very wet. So what you're going to want to do is, I've got my cutting board here. I'm going to try and do some of this with just one hand. And you're going to take some flour and just flour the board a bit, because remember, this is really sticky dough, and that's okay. And if you find that it's really, really too sticky for you, you can proof it for a little bit less. Some people like 12 to 14 hours, but for me, I like 18 hours. So I'm just going to scoop this out. I have to turn the camera off, and I'll be right back. So there, and the bowl comes out relatively clean. So the next step in this process, you just got your dough on the floured board, and it's moving around quite easily. And you just take a little tiny bit of flour, like so. And you're not kneading it, you're just folding it a couple of times. And I'm doing this with one hand. That just shows you how easy this bread is. Basically making it into a ball. That's pretty much it. And you cover it again with your plastic or a towel or whatever you want, and let it rest for 15 minutes. So we're resting this dough for 15 minutes, and during that time, what I get in the habit of doing is I clean out the bowls, and it's such an easy cleanup. Then I soak the clay bakers. Anybody that has used clay bakers knows that they need to soak in water so the clay absorbs the water, and that's where the taste, this unique taste of this bread comes from. The steam that's inside of the clay goes and bakes the outside very crispy once it's in a hot oven. So I'll show you what I do. So I just fill the sink with water, and I've got the bottom and the lid and the bottom and the lid of two of the clay bakers, and I just let them soak. They usually only need to soak for 10 minutes, but I just do it at this stage and then just leave them till I'm ready for them. And then the last thing I do is prep the second rise. They call them proofing baskets, and I used to have 2 baskets from the dollar store, but I'm just using bowls. They just need to be kind of shallow, wide bowls. So I'm just using 2 different bowls, and you'll notice I have these liners inside the bowl. I got those from Breadtopia, again, because I was making bread so often that I just wanted to have one thing that I use just straight for bread. But you can use a tea towel, as long as it's a cotton one, not a waffle one. So all you're going to do to get these ready is just line the bowls. They just have elastic around them, and they grip the bowl. You could probably make them too, but they're really inexpensive. And I found that site had everything I needed. Just dust it with some flour. That's pretty much it. And then you're going to need a cotton tea towel to cover it with. And I forgot to mention one thing that I would do after washing out my bowls during this 15-minute waiting period is I would refill the flour in the bowls and cover them in with plastic for tomorrow. So you're all ready. In 15 minutes, you're all ready again with 2 more loaves ready for tomorrow. Okay, our 15 minutes is up, so we can take the plastic wrap off, and you can immediately place this plastic wrap on for your next batch that you've already mixed up, and recycle your plastic. So you're just going to take this ball. It should be really smooth, like a baby's bottom. This is going to be the top of the loaf, so I've got a little bit of a dimple there that I probably wouldn't normally want, but that's okay, no big deal. So you're going to take this, and you're just going to dump it upside down in your basket. Not as hard as I did, but upside down. So a little note here, if you want to have some kind of decorative fiber look on the outside of your bread. You can put cornmeal in here or wheat bran, because this flour is what's going to bake on the top of your bread. So you just dump it upside down, and then you're going to flip it right side up. Okay, so we're on to the very last step before we bake it. So we're just going to let them sit in our proofing bowls, and we're going to cover them with a cotton tea towel. And it's just going to do its last rise. And this usually takes about an hour and a half, anywhere from 70 to 90 minutes. So I'm going back to bed, and I'll see you in an hour and a half. Hi everyone, I'm back now. It's 8:30, so I'm just going to preheat my oven to 450, and then you place your clay bakers in the oven because you want them to preheat along with the oven getting hot, because the whole plan is to get those pots really hot. So what I do is just put the wet pots in. I make sure I wipe them the insides out just to get the excess water out from the bottom of them, but I don't dry them completely off. So we'll wait till the oven preheats. Okay, our oven is preheated, so last step. I'm going to open it up very carefully. It's really hot, 450 degrees. And then what we do is pull out the racks, and I'm going to put, these are really hot. Whoa, can you see the steam coming out? Okay, so I'm going to need 2 hands for this, so hang on a sec. So what I did is I very quickly turned the bowl over into my hand like this, so the top of the bread was on the palm of my hand, and then I flipped it over into each pot, and then I'm just going to put the lid on and let them bake for half an hour. So here is my bread. It's super hot, but you can see that it's got a really nice crusty crust, and I'm just going to dump it out onto my cutting board here. There we go. Now flip it over. There we go. So I'll get the other one out and let them cool. So I'm just going to take my serrated knife here, and the bread's still kind of warm. Whoops. But it has such a great crust, really chewy crust. And then you can see the inside here. See all that nummy bread? So give this recipe a try. This was my challenge for day 5, and I'm really glad I got back to doing it. So we'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.